Paul, yeah. You know, I've had a little problem with those in the billionaire families saying that I wouldn't get any of their estate. But when you have a marriage license that was issued from the United Nations and you email the United Nations about a county, granting, right, divorce, yes, without any actual due process, and since I don't know of any of the documentation that Heidi provided when motioning the court for the dissolution of marriage, yes. I have to really consider that it is an obligation of the United States to enforce the Charter of the United Nations. Yeah. And that has to do with all the actual conventions of the United Nations. Now, I'm aware that there was numerous conventions that are in violation. And this thought that we as a nation don't have to support what we pay for. Yeah. We don't have to support the United Nations when we spend billions of dollars of taxpayer money. Yes. Over the last 50, 60 years. And then we got married in Kosovo. Right. And it was the actual United Nations that issued the marriage license. Now, I've told the court that they didn't have reciprocity, but they wouldn't give me notice of court hearings. Yeah. They issued a dissolution of marriage in 2013 where somebody thought, well, we'll hide, right, the actual notice of the court hearings. And then after the dissolution on February 11th of 2013, we'll put it on the court record that the mail was returned unclaimed. Now, you know how judges don't like to be told what is legal and what is not legal. Yeah. But I thought for sure that it was in violation of the actual conventions of the United Nations. Yeah. Now, when you look at it, my son's been in the wrong grade for the last 2 years or 7 years, right? Because you as a court didn't protect the rights of themselves and their father. Mm. And you thought, well, we can do whatever we want, and there's no possible way that I'll be able to sue you. Yeah. There's no way that I'll be able to sue each and every school district of the United States. There's no possible way that I'll be able to sue the United Nations for the knowledge that they have. But I can. And that means that I can sue the Rockefellers right now. Now, the idiots, that say that these conventions of the United Nations are not enforceable when spending the taxpayers' money on the support of the United Nations, I think they actually are liable. They're liable for this county, yes, saying that I, as a father, do not have any rights, that you don't have to give me a dissolution of marriage, that you can allow for my wife to abduct my sons and hold them hostage because you don't have to enforce the laws of the United States. Well, I think you do. I think that when this government of Guam, right, issued the certificate of vital records, certification of vital records. Yes, it was a U.S. standard government of Guam certificate of live birth. Yeah. Now, as much as you disagree with this whole concept of babies being born in hospitals, yeah, that's where it took place. You remember that, Dr. Blue Eyes, Heidi? His eyes are so blue. You know, when a woman's in labor, you're standing right next to her and you see the crown of the actual head of the baby as it's coming out of the womb. You realize as a father, I was right there. I cut the umbilical cord. Now, you've refused to acknowledge my rights as a father. Yeah. But the truth is, the mother's name, the father's name, yeah. You'll notice it's Budnek, and the marriage license that was issued, each and every one of these marriage certificates, isn't that right? Heidi Lee Griggs? Yeah. All of them are based upon the contractual obligations of the United Nations. Yeah. See, when we got married in Kosovo, it was after the Kosovo conflict, and I kind of talked to you about that. But calling me the father, you're going to need to remove your fraud, and I'm going to sue the United Nations. And I'm going to sue you for violating the conventions of the United Nations. And I'm going to sue the Rockefeller family, every fucking one of them, for their participation in the United Nations. Yeah. Now, given name is Zachary James Budnick. I'm his actual father. Yeah. He was born at the University of Washington. Father's name, Paul Chad Budnick. Mother's maiden name, Heidi Lee Griggs. Mm, mm, mm. Um, we were actually married. Did you have jurisdiction to dissolve a United Nations marriage certificate? Is there an obligation to enforce the conventions of the United Nations? International child abduction, baby snatching, a kidnapping, child exploitation. Now, I'm going to want my sons today. Do you understand? Then I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you for not having documented that our actual marriage certificate is from the United Nations. I'm going to want to divorce the mother of my sons. I'm going to want to remove them from the schools that they've been attending. Yeah. I'm going to want you to enforce the victim's rights and the victim's resources. I'm going to want to sleep in a bed and bathe in a bathtub in a 5-star hotel. And for the rest of my fucking life, I will be renting rooms in the most expensive hotels of the world because of your corruption. You understand, Sheriff? I told you that it violated the laws of the United States for you as a county to dissolve a marriage certificate that was issued from the United Nations. Sheriff, it's not going to be the Red Lion. In fact, why don't you get me all the hospitality? There's a different taxation. Yeah. And as I understand it, you always kept some rooms ready for a sting operation where you were going to bust some drug dealers. Yes. Give me the telephone number of every telephone in every hotel and motel of the United States of America. It seems that the cops and the sheriffs right now have been, well, illegally tapping the phones of those that are in the hospitality business. Now, for all of you that are not 5-star hotels, yeah, not planning on spending a lot of time there. I'm planning on spending a lot of time in 5-star hotels. Yeah, because I will sue every oath of office right now.